On the bench today, I have a Sansui AU70 stereo amplifier. This, as you may be able to see from the patina, was a barn find. A friend of mine actually brought this to me and asked me if I could check it out and see if I could get it working. Maybe I'll clean it up and try and help him sell it. I would be interested in purchasing something like this if I had the time or inclination to do a proper restoration on it, go through, replace all the caps, check some of the resistors, and in this case the unit has tubes. So I don't know if the tubes that are in this unit are functional or any good. It is a nice piece, it's an interesting piece, and this will make a great project for somebody who has the time to devote to it. For right now, I'll get it going and just see what kind of shape it's in. I think somebody else will have to finish the restoration on this thing to do it justice. Okay, so I'll just kind of do a quick overview of this unit and what some of the controls are before I start digging into it. Over here it's got a balance control to balance out the left and right channels. It's got a blend control. It's got bass and treble for the left channel, bass and treble for the right channel, the master volume, which I see that's a little bit loose. It's got the input selector, so there's an aux mode, tape head, microphone, phono, and tuner. And then over here is the speaker mode. There's a left, a right, left plus right, stereo, and stereo reverse. Up here along the top row, it looks like I've got tape monitor on, tone defeat on, a high filter, a low filter, and a loudness switch. And we have our left and right power meters, the master power switch, presence on or off, and speakers on or off, a headphone jack, and a power indicator light. Here's a look at the back of the unit, and you can see here there is a crystal switch. Switch between magnetic and crystal, presumably for the phono input, but this switch does seem to be broken. It doesn't seem to be functioning properly. Something's loose in there. Over here we have the rest of the inputs. We've got the phono input, right and left, mic input, tape head, tuner, aux, a record out presumably, and a tape monitor. Then we've got a DIN plug over here. And let's see, this I can't quite read it. This is a meter switch. There's a high, mid, and low position. And that switch feels okay. I think that says meter. And then over here we have a center channel out, which is kind of interesting on a unit of this age. And then we've got speaker terminals, and it looks like there's 16 ohm or 8 ohm. And then over here a couple of auxiliary power ports, a fuse, and of course the power cord, which actually for its age this still feels pretty flexible and pretty serviceable. It's not too bad. It could be better, but it's actually not as bad as I would expect. And then inside the unit here, it may not be real visible in this lighting, but you can see some of the tubes. And these are RCA tubes that I can see through the window. Now there's quite a bit of fuzz and dirt in there, which I think I'll try and clean out before I fire this thing up at all. But I think what I'll do before I put any power to this at all is pull the top cover off and have a look inside. I've pulled the 4 screws off that hold the case on. And I'm going to pull this off now, and we're going to see together what this thing looks like inside. Hopefully there's no critters living in here. Let's see. Well, it looks dusty and dirty. It's definitely been in a barn. Alright, so just to kind of show what it looks like inside, I'll tip it up. Hopefully it's visible there. You can see everything is there. The big power transformers, all the tubes are there, and they look like they're in good shape. I don't know if these are original tubes or not. I'll have to figure out what's what in that regard, but there are some RCA tubes in the back. I'm not sure what those are just yet. And then these ones in the front look like Westinghouse tubes, at least some of them are. It's dirty, but it's all there. You can see here that I've got the amp kind of dusted out. I didn't, go to any trouble to really clean it too much yet, but I did dust it out with some compressed air and got all the loose stuff out. You can kind of see right there in between those two tubes, there's sort of evidence of either moisture or maybe something even might have had a nest in there at one point. And here's a quick shot of the bottom of the unit. Of course, this wasn't all that dirty in the first place, but I did clean this out too. So I've got the amplifier hooked up to a variac, as you can see here. And what this is going to allow me to do is this is going to allow me to bring the line voltage up slowly so that none of the components are shocked by having voltage applied to them suddenly after having not been powered for who knows how many years. And I've got the meter connected through one of the accessory outlets on the back of the amp. I've got the amplifier plugged in to the variac, and you can see the variac is off right now. The meter is reading 0. And what I'll do is I'll flip the power on the variac, and you can see the meter goes up to about 0.5 volt. So I'm going to bring the variac up to 10 volts or thereabouts and let it sit there for a little while. So I've got the amp up to 60 volts here so far, but I'm going to have to call it a night in a few minutes. I do have to get up tomorrow morning and go to work, and I don't want to leave this thing sitting powered up overnight in case there is a problem. So I'm just going to let this sit for a few more minutes and then I'll power everything down. But you can see here at 60 volts, some of the lights are starting to turn on. And I'll turn off the lights here, and maybe it'll be visible in the camera. You can see the power light is starting to come on, and even the backlights for the meters are starting to glow. So far everything is looking good. It's now the next day, and I've had the amp on for a couple hours. I started low and worked my way back up, and now as you can see I'm up to about 80 volts. And I'm starting to get some sound out of this thing, and you can kind of hear it. You can kind of hear it there if I play with the balance control. So it's starting to produce some sound, which is a good thing. So it's getting a little bit late in the evening here, but you can see here that I've got everything up to working voltage. And you may be able to hear in the background there's some crackling and hissing going on. There's definitely sound coming out of the amplifier, so I thought before I went to bed for the evening I'd throw a quick input source on here, which I did. I've got a CD player here, and I've verified that the amp does seem to work. You should be able to hear some music coming out of there. Now I'm not going to adjust the volume or the controls too much, because this thing, as soon as I start moving the controls, it gets really scratchy and really loud. And let me just pause this. And I don't want to wake anyone upstairs that's sleeping. So even though I'm not going to take this on as a project myself, I thought since it came across my bench here, it would be worthy of making a short video and kind of sharing it out there, since it is such a cool unit and worthy of some attention. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to leave a comment or subscribe, feel free to do that as well. Thanks for watching.